This is the second video of two videos on how to use Khan Academy in preparing for the AP Calculus exam for students and how teachers can use it in the classroom. My name is Kelly Gagnon, and I'm a high school math teacher in northern New Hampshire, and I'm an ambassador for Khan Academy. Today we're going to start with the learning objectives and the agenda. So the previous video was an intro to why to use Khan Academy for AP Calculus, and today this video is going to focus on getting started, implementation, planning, and then finally a survey at the end. So let's get started on how to use Khan Academy in the classroom. There's really 6 steps to starting this process. First, you need to create an account. Then you need to manage your rosters and make sure all your students are enrolled. Then you need to understand how to navigate the site, how to make up assignments. We're going to look at what it looks like to look at it from the student perspective, and then how to view reports. So the first thing we're going to do to create an account is that you're going to go to khanacademy.org, and it's going to say click here, teachers start here. You're either going to set up a password or log in with an existing account. Okay. When you name the class, I would consider naming it period 1 or period 2. You can edit class names at a later point, and classes will appear out in alphabetical order. You can change or edit your subject at any point, but you need to pick a subject. And so for this course, I would pick the AP Calculus. You may also want to assign pre-calculus if you feel like your students need to do review or some Algebra 2. But basically, you'll have, it doesn't prevent you from using other content, but it gives us a starting point on Khan Academy as to what area mastery challenges should focus on. So your students, if you're going to use this for SAT prep, there is an additional requirement where your students will need to grant you access to view their progress. So that's just a special tool with SAT prep. So there are 4 options to add your students to your class. Okay, the first option is to give them a class code. That's what I originally used to do. When I first started with Khan Academy, you give them this class code. They need their own account, and you give them the 6-digit code, and they join your class. Okay, but once Google Classroom came out, I just have my students join Google Classroom first, and then once they join Google Classroom, then you can directly import them from Google Classroom, and it saves an extra step. So all the students imported from Google Classroom will come over into Khan Academy. If a student already has a Khan Academy account with another teacher, they will be invited to join your class. Okay. A couple tips. Syncing on Khan Academy with a Google Classroom will never delete students from your Khan Academy class. It will only add students who are not already in your class. Additionally, syncing will never change your Google Classroom roster. Okay, so whatever you do on Khan Academy, it won't change your roster on Google Classroom. But if you change it on Google Classroom and then sync it, it will change. It will update. You can also email students an invitation, and students will see an invitation. So now that once you set up your class, you're ready to browse and start finding resources to assign your students. So that goes into our next area where we start managing the rosters. Okay, so if you click on the Edit Class Settings in here, if you open up your class and Edit Class Settings, you're going to have all sorts of options to add, remove people from a class, stop coaching them. You can choose this under the Choose Actions button. Okay, now we're going to look at navigating the site. So when you navigate the site, you just want to choose your class. You may have multiple classes and what the period of the day is. So again, it's seeing how this is set up. This makes it user-friendly if you set up more than one class. Having it named as period 3 and what the class is, it makes it easier to navigate. You go to your drop-down menu, and then you can always look at progress, and this is where you're going to be able to see how much of the mission they're completing and where they're struggling. And then if you there's an SAT tab that's specific for how students are doing with SAT data progress. You can view your classes and assignments and students. You can browse content. You can make up assignments, and you can preview the student homepage. Over here you can explore, which is where you get to see what videos and exercises for each subject, or you can hit practice where you can just it lists out just the practice problem sets and exercises in each mission. All right, so if you want to make some assignments up for students, you need to create an assignment, and you're going to choose what you're going to create, and then you're going to have this little button up here which is assign, and you have to click assign. You get to choose the class. You can also assign to which students. You can hit all students in your class, or you can do to specific students, and you can select the date that it's due. If you want to edit the assignment, it allows you to change the due date or change the group of students that you assign it to. Please pay special attention right here to this active, past, and saved. If it's past your due date, you're going to have to hit on past to find the assignment. If it's currently due and hasn't been turned in yet, it'll be under active. If you want to duplicate an assignment, it creates a different assignment, but you could use it for a different class period. If you delete an assignment, it will remove it from your assignment page and the student's assignment page. So saving an assignment allows you to prepare assignments ahead of time to post to your class later. So if you see an assignment that you like and you want to save it for later, you can hit save, and then you can go back to the saved assignments and assign it at a later date. Okay. It will show up in the drafts tab of your assignments page. When you're ready to post the assignment, you will click assign. So this is what this is still a teacher view. So the assignments show up in order by date. Consider choosing slightly different due dates to guarantee students see your assignment in the exact order you need them. So if you want them to show in this order, you need to think about the date and the time that things are due. Okay, so just a little bit of a talk. We've talked about this mission and the AP. This is an image of a 5th grade, but if we had the AP Calculus mission, the mission progress is calculated by the number of skills mastered or at level 2 divided by the total number of skills in the mission. So if students want to know how that's calculated, you got to be at level 2 or higher or mastered. Okay, so over here, these are the color codings that you'll see. If you see some box that's red, it means they're struggling. They haven't practiced it enough yet, or it needs practice, and they need to be at level 2 or mastered for it to influence their mastery challenge percentage. Okay, kids will see these skill tiles, and when you have these skill tiles, you can see in blue every square represents a different skill in the mission. Hover over a square to see it to preview the exercise, and then click on it, the exercise, to add it to the top of your playlist. Okay. Now we're going to look at what it looks like to understand from the student perspective. When a student logs in, they have this mastery. If a mastery challenge is open, it'll be here, but they will also have a playlist, and these are the exercises that's recommended that they work on. The Mastery Challenge is a mix of different exercises from the mission. Students must wait several hours before taking a Mastery Challenge on a recently practiced skill. So if they just finished, implicit differentiation, then it's not going to show up on their Mastery Challenge for a couple hours. It's because it wants to see if they can come back and do it at a later time. Taking Mastery Challenges is the only way for a student to achieve that level of mastered. Okay, so it might say that they're level 2, but the only way they can have it mastered is to take a mastery challenge. Upcoming assignments, this is what's listed for students. They can start the topics, and they can see when things are due. And this is what it looks like on an app on the iPad or on an Android device. This is how the assignments appear. And this is what students will get once they finish. If they received a 70%, it counts as practice, so they can move on. They'll see their percentage of what they got, but they get into the practice or that level 1 category if they're at 75%. Okay, so let's look at what teachers are going to see from the perspective of viewing assignment reports. This is what it's going to look like. And you'll be able to see how many, if you assign an assignment, you'll see 3 out of 9 students have completed it. Okay, and then you can also see data and consider, once you look at that data, you can see, okay, I need to pair up certain students that have not been able to complete it to work together, and other students have completed the assignment. Okay, in this category, you can say, okay, I want to know which students understand supplementary and complementary. So you click on the 8 out of 10 and it will give you a list of which students have mastered that concept, and it will tell you how many questions they got correct. It shows the best score the student had for the exercise. It shows each problem. If you view the report, it can show each problem that they got right or wrong. So it would look like this, where students can show how they did on each of the problems. Okay. And you can select the problem, and you can go full screen if you want to see the problem larger. Okay. All right, now we're going to move into the implementation and some tips and strategies for implementing Khan Academy in your classroom. So the first thing is to come up with, what model are you going to use? If you're going to do it in class, are you going to give them 2 to 3 times per week at 20 minutes? You could also do it as more of a remediation instead of independent. You could assign different topics, or they could do it independent or guided. You could do it 2 to 3 times for the entire period. You could look at assigning it for homework. You could also look at giving them like out of class time where it's self-paced, where they decide how much time they want to spend on it. Okay, so I do suggest that you read this article right here that explores different implementation models. Okay, so now as you're going ahead and planning towards using Khan Academy, I suggest that you try it for the next 6 weeks and see if this is a good strategy for you. And I suggest this article right here is about ways to motivate students to use Khan Academy. And then these are the questions you want to ask. How are you going to track progress? How are you going to celebrate when they achieve a certain accomplishment? How will you encourage persistence and mastery? And how are you going to grade student performance and effort on Khan Academy? And lastly, what we would like you to do is, this is the end of the training for the videos. If you could please complete this survey. I will also put it on the link on Facebook for details and feedback on if this training was useful and what would you like to see in the future.